What's up, y'all? It's Carla, aka Sila the Poet. How's everybody doing? I know it's been a while since I've posted on the channel. I have had a very, very busy summer. I've just been trying to keep myself busy, doing different events, going to different dance socials and parties. So I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. Right now, I'm showing you the aftermath of when I spiral and go through flashbacks and stuff because I was triggered. So, yesterday, I had a talk with my father, and my father was one of my first abusers, one of my first bullies. And what happened is that, after a whole bunch of drama that went down, I had went no contact with him for 10 years. And I did that to protect myself, to protect my mental health. And then what ended up happening was my son became ill. And because that's his grandson, I reached out to him sometime in 2025. And I actually needed his help because my son wasn't listening to anybody. And he ended up being helpful in a sense, but I thought, once we began speaking again, that we could maybe rebuild our father and daughter relationship. I said, you know what? Now we're talking again. Now we're being civil to each other. Maybe we could build something again. Maybe we could finally be on good terms. And what ended up happening was yesterday, I called him, just for, I wanted to give him some information. I had been going through an ancestry journey where I've been trying to find out my roots. Cousins have been reaching out to me, that I found out I was related to them through my father's side of the family. And so one of my cousins wanted to reach him, and I was giving him information, and some way, somehow, he turned it into an argument. And so we start arguing. He starts accusing me. He starts telling me he gets upset because of something, that I did. I'm not gonna go into it because it's personal, but so he gets upset and he starts raising his voice. He starts yelling, like raising his voice, and I'm defending myself. I'm on my defensive, defending myself. And I ended up hanging up on him. You know, After talking to him, I took my blood pressure. I have a blood pressure monitor at home, and it was basically like 200 over 110. And I was afraid, for myself, that I had a headache, and I was afraid, that I would have to go to the hospital. And I don't know, just after that argument, it brought back memories. In that moment, I started remembering, things that he said and did in the past that hurt me. It was like all these memories started flooding back, and I felt like I was 18 years old again. I felt like a child. And I just realized, after that after that conversation, that I may have to go no contact again. And it hurts, because I think the inner child, or the inner little girl inside of me, is still looking for a loving father. And that's not what I have. I have a man who is controlling, abusive. That's the reality, is that this man has issues. He's angry, he's controlling, and he's abusive. And this is not the first time that he has hurt me. He has insulted me. He has accused me, you know, and tried to turn things around on me as if I'm being disrespectful, when I'm not yelling, I'm not cursing, I'm just taking a stand for what I believe is right. He disagrees with it, and then he starts tearing me down. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of him always hurting me, where we have conversations and it can't just be a normal conversation. He always has to turn it into an argument. He always has to turn it into a power play. I'm just sick and tired of it. And last night I probably cried for about 35 to 40 minutes. Hadn't cried in a long time. Was angry at myself that I cried because I had told myself before that I wouldn't let him hurt me again. That I wouldn't let him make me cry. And here I was crying as if I were a child. And so what this taught me is that even though sometimes you can have hope that somebody has changed, you have to give them time to show you whether or not they've really changed. And what I'm realizing is that I thought he changed, but he hasn't changed. He's still the same man. Underneath, he ended up revealing himself. He's the same guy. The same anger, the same violence. It's all there underneath, waiting for the right thing for it to set off. And I can't be his emotional punching bag anymore. And I refuse to be. And so this morning, I am taking a mental health day to try to encourage myself, to uplift myself. It hurts. It hurts when you have to remove someone out of your life. It hurts when you have to stop communicating with someone that you love. You hope what's best for them, but you can't allow them to continue hurting you. My blood pressure was so high last night, I was afraid I was going to have a stroke. And I can't let anybody get me that upset again. And so for self-preservation purposes, I just have to, once again, go no contact. I have to protect myself from my own father. I have to protect myself from my own dad. And you know how embarrassing that sounds? You know how embarrassed I am to admit that? But it's the truth. It's the truth. And it hurts. It hurts. Because you would hope that something good would come. You would hope that things would change, and they never change. So here I am today, just trying to heal and trying to get myself back to a state of equilibrium. And later on, I have session with my therapist, and I'm looking forward to that. But I just want to encourage myself, as well as other survivors of trauma, domestic violence, and child abuse, that even though sometimes you will have setbacks, like I just did, it's not the end of the world. You can build yourself back up. And that's what I'm doing. Yes, I was hurt. Yes, I'm angry, I'm upset, but I don't have to stay in that state. I can get back to a state of peace, equilibrium, and being happy again, and being confident again, and depending on self-love again. And that's what it is, guys. So please send me your prayers, good vibes, as I get myself back to equilibrium. I'll probably do a part 2 later. I hope you guys have a good one. Peace.